Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today we're back in the sofa, we're having another episode of Vegan Basics, and today we're gonna be talking about mousses and cheesecakes and things like that. So let's start. If this is the first video you're watching or if you're new here, I'm doing this series of Vegan Basics talking about my tips and what I've learned of vegan baking and vegan cooking in general. So in the last episode we talked about vegan baking, vegan cookies, cakes, things like that, and today we're talking about more of a cold desserts, and I'll try to not be as messy as last time. But the thing is that making vegan mousses is way easier than I thought. And before we start, all the recipes and everything that I'm gonna be talking and showing you, it's gonna be linked down in the description of the video and also up here, so if you want to go to any of the recipes you can go straight to the one you like. So the first recipe I learned to make that was more like a dessert, more like a yogurt mousse chocolate thing, was the Snickers pot, which is made with tofu. I explained it in the video, but I used to work in a place where they would make this dessert. I wasn't really happy about the idea of mixing tofu with chocolate. I thought I wouldn't like it. I didn't want to try it. It kind of seemed disgusting to me at the beginning, but oh my god, that's like the best discovery I made. Like, tofu in desserts is how I eat most of my tofu right now. That would be my number one tip. Like, use tofu to make everything more creamy. Because if you use milks and things like that, no matter how many things you're gonna add, it's most likely gonna be more liquid, and tofu just makes everything thicker and more like a mousse consistency, although there's a lot of ways to achieve the same result, but I feel like tofu is a really good one. And honestly, it's the one that I cook the most. So every time I feel like something sweet, I feel like chocolate, I make the Snickers pot, and it's amazing. It has banana, has tofu and peanut butter, so it has kind of a lot of ingredients to make everything thick, but then you light it up with some almond milk and the consistency is just perfect. So that's my favorite one, but that doesn't mean that the rest are not good, because I've tried a lot of other recipes that were amazing. So another thing that you can use to make a mousse is something that everyone has been using lately, or I felt like everyone has been using it, and I was a little bit, again, not sure about it working, and it's aquafaba, like the liquid from a can of chickpeas, and that's really used in baking, and I feel like for mousses is one of the best ways you can use it, because you whip it and mix it with the other ingredients and it has all the bubbles that you would get with a whipped egg white. But I've tried it. We made an orange chocolate mousse for Halloween and it was delicious, but I think I added too much liquid, so the consistency wasn't as firm as it would be with some Silken tofu. That's the one that I usually use, but still it was delicious, and it did not taste like chickpeas, because that was another thing I was worried about, and it did not taste like chickpeas, I promise. It just like really light, and when you add other ingredients on top of it, like the flavor just kind of disappears and you're not gonna taste it, so that's a really good option. And another thing I have to say here is that I always use Silken tofu. I've tried it with other tofus and I'm honestly not gonna lie, I don't like it with other tofus. I feel like Silken tofu is the best option you can use to make desserts, because it's like really soft and it's really similar to a cream cheese texture, and I think that's why it works so good. And when you use a firm one, because I've also done it and I've eaten it and it's perfect, but you can taste the tofu more, so I would totally recommend you to use Silken tofu for all desserts. But again, that doesn't mean that you can't do it with a firm one. And another thing that you can use, for example, when I don't have tofu, I've tried to make the same Snickers pot, for example, but with avocado, and it works. The consistency is really creamy, it's really good, but I feel like I really taste the avocado in the mixture, even though I put like chocolate and peanut butter and other things in the mix. I can taste the avocado flavor, and it's not bad, but it's just strange to me, so I can have it, but I would totally prefer the tofu. So if you try it, you might like it, you might love it, so don't be skeptical to try it, because you just never know. And then another ingredient that I have discovered that I hadn't used before is the BioLife cream cheese, for example. There's probably a ton of other cream cheese out there, but that's the one that I've tried and that I've loved. I've only tried two, I'm gonna be honest, so I'm not sure about other brands that might be really good on it, but yeah, Cream cheese is also a good option, and I made the Biscoff cheesecake and I mixed some cream cheese with some tofu and it was amazing. So that's another good option, to use a vegan cheese to make a mousse, to make a cheesecake, to make something that needs to have some consistency. But I guess that's just like an obvious and easy one. So if you want to make a cheesecake, just use cheese. That's pretty basic, you know. Vegan cream cheeses are usually salty, so that's why it's good to mix it with some of the other ingredients. So maybe you mix it with some tofu or with some avocado, why not? Just something that it's more plain, so the whole dish doesn't end up being too salty, for example. So in these videos I'm just throwing a lot of ideas to you, because then you can check what you have, see what you like, and try to make your own mixes to find the perfect option for you, because it might end up being something you never thought you would like, as it happened to me with the tofu, to be honest. And then there's this fancy option that I've used a lot in the past, but for example where I'm living now I haven't found any place to buy it, so I haven't been able to use it anymore, for now at least, and it's the Oatly whippable cream. This cream is just amazing. It has vanilla flavor, you can whip it, you can use it as whipped cream, you can use it in mousses, you can use it in absolutely everything, and it's delicious. And I have this recipe where I made the banana mousse, which was basically Oatly cream and banana, and I think peanut butter. I'm not sure about the recipe, but that was delicious and I really want to do it again, but I haven't found the Oatly again, so I haven't tried to do it any other way. But probably if I just threw in some of the other ingredients I'm talking about, it would work too. I just haven't had the time to try it. So yeah, that's another easy option to make it, but I'm aware that it's not that easy to find. So these would be the ones that I've used and that I like and that I can personally tell that they have worked. Okay, I was editing the video and I realized that I forgot something, and it's this beauty right here, some coconut milk, like full fat coconut milk like this in a can. This is also super good because the fat gets separated on top, and if it doesn't, just put it in the fridge and it will. And that fat is also amazing to whip with any other ingredient to make a mousse or things like that, so it's super easy. And yeah, I forgot to mention that. So to sum it up, I'm gonna put it here. We have tofu, silken tofu, we have aquafaba from the can of chickpeas, we have whippable creams like Oatly, we have vegan cream cheeses like the one from Be Alive, and we have avocado. These are the ones that I've used the most. But then there's also other things that you can add to make it creamier, to make it richer, and that would be, for example, bananas, that would be nut creams like peanut butter, almond butter, things like that. Even just nuts, if you add some nuts and you soak them and just blend them, which is a nut cream. I'm stupid. Okay, let's continue. If you have a mixture that you see that it's too liquid, just like add some nuts, for example, that would for sure work. And then there's two other things that I want to mention here, and I'm not the biggest fan of them, but I want to throw them in because I know that maybe it would be useful for some other people, and I know that a lot of people, for example, like chia seeds and chia puddings and puddings, they use chia a lot, and honestly I've tried it and I don't like it. Like, I can't take it. I see it and I feel like, oh wow, that's amazing, I really like, I feel like eating it. But then when I've made it myself, or I've tried it or bought it or anything, just the texture is too viscosity, like the viscosity, just like I don't like it, I just can't. So if you do like chia seeds, you should really try chia puddings and stuff like that, but yeah, I just can't. So I'm not gonna recommend something that I don't eat, but I'm just gonna tell you that you can do it if you like it. And then the other thing is agar-agar. So that's basically a vegan jelly, and I think that's a really cool option. I've seen a lot of people using it, and I've seen people even using it to make vegan cheeses and things like that. So it's a really good option. But for example, to make a cheesecake or to make a mousse, I wouldn't use agar-agar, because I feel like agar-agar would be something you would use to make a panna cotta, for example. So if you want to make a panna cotta, throw in some chocolate, throw in some milk or some cream and add some agar-agar. That's gonna get like the panna cotta consistency that you would be looking for. So I would use it for some things, but not for some of the others. But yeah, it's a good option that you can also incorporate into your desserts when you want them to be more firm. And I think I'm at the end of this video. I think that's everything I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to cold desserts, mousses, things like this. All the recipes are gonna be linked up here and down in the description. So if you want to check any particular recipe, you can go and check it out. And again, I'm gonna keep trying to bring at least once a month a video where I can talk to you about some vegan basic things that I'm learning or that I've learned. And if you want me to talk about anything in particular, or if you want to share with me some of your recipes so I can try them, just leave a comment down below and let me know, because I'm really open to try new things, new ways to make these cold desserts, and I would be really happy to hear it. But if you made it this far, give a like to the video because that really helps the channel, and subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and I'll just see you in the next one.